anybody who had Steinhoff shares. You can lose that money tomorrow. A job can be taken away tomorrow. You can be retrenched, you can be fired. He said the only security that really counts is the knowledge in yourself that you will always be able to make a plan. And so if you have that knowledge, well, then of course money in the bank and a job is an added bonus and not to be dismissed. But if you don't have that security, then you're always going to be ruled by fear, and you're actually going to be tied up with golden handcuffs that no matter how brightly they shine, don't take away that fear. Yeah. And I thought, he's absolutely right. And I was 28 and I resigned a week later, and since then have gone on to do all manner of things. So I'm very glad not only that I was given that advice, but that I took it.
Yeah, no, that is, I really like what you have to say. And, the fact that you mention security within oneself. I mean, talking about security, in 2010, I was part of the architects that worked on F&B Soccer City, and while I was on a holiday in Europe, I come back and a colleague tells me, listen, Tavi, I've got to see you tonight. You're one of the people that have been retrenched. And I was partly sad, but there was also a part of me that was like, okay, this is all right. This is just all right, because somebody's given me the boot. So this is also an opportunity. I've come to zero. So, it's time I can start my own practice. So that's when I decided to buy a door, and I made a table, and I never looked back. So my aunt actually said to me, listen, retrenchment, honey, it is God's promotion. I didn't understand what it meant, but today now I am an owner of ArcLive Architects. I create my own rules and we do our own do. So any advice to my younger self is that, listen, it's all just going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Althea, do you have anything to say about your younger self?
Oops. Yeah, so I wish Niven had given me that advice to my younger self, because I think, the way I grew up, and probably very many people grew up, a lot of our journey was very fear-based. There's a lot of insecurity and a lot of questioning your own confidence and trying to build your own confidence. So I think if I did have that opportunity to give advice to my younger self, it would be to trust that I know what I know. Trust that I trust that I know my strengths. Trust what's important to me, because we all grow up with a set of core values that are either built around empathy, or built around family, or built around respecting yourself and respecting others. And the minute you get into spaces with, we're often in spaces where there are only men in the room. If I did not have a sense that I knew my job, I would never be able to sit in that room and be in charge of the meeting and be in charge of the site, and be able to sit and say with authority that you are going to take instruction from me, and not be intimidated by all the testosterone in the room, which often happens. So yeah, that would be advice to myself, is trust yourself.
Yeah. No, then that's great. Noma Gugu, what do you have to say about that? Or what advice would you give to your younger self?
Well, actually, for me, I think the biggest advice I would give to you, the little farm girl, that couldn't speak English properly, or couldn't pronounce things the way they should have been pronounced at the time, I would give the advice that success is defined by yourself, Nomaku. I spent a lot of time pursuing the success that was defined by the world of architecture, that was defined by people, that was defined by society, and it broke me until I decided to redefine what success is for Nomaku, and that it's not necessarily the money in the bank, and that it's not necessarily the best architectural building, and that it's not necessarily being the perfect mom, I redefined success for myself to say, what do I choose success to be? So if I could give advice to my younger self, it would have been that you as a person have an ability to define everything.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. I think a lot of architectural professionals, they go around in circles and thinking that success is with somebody else on another continent, and this is how it should look. And it's an ongoing, continuous, daily thing. And for the fact that you came to a point and you just said, listen, stop the bus, hodi lueri, as they say. No, we're gonna do this my way, and my successes and my daily successes will be the star architect. I am that in my life done. No, I really appreciate that. And Nziki, what would you say? Would you say is well, you look young. I don't know whether it's because you take care of your skin even more better than we do. But so I'm wondering if I could ask you, what advice would you have to your younger self, or maybe what would you define as success?
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so I literally turned 32 months ago, so I'm approaching leaving the calendar, as we say. So, a piece of advice that I would definitely give to my high school varsity self is to don't waste time being insecure. But a piece of advice that I've received from one of my mentors that is still applicable today is, and I met this mentor when I was in my third year of varsity, and she spoke to me about delayed gratification. And she was like, you're going to be graduating soon, and people are going to buy fancy cars, they're going to move out of home into nice apartments, whether it was partying or, going out and buying nice clothes. And she said to me, if you want to be an entrepreneur, be clear about what your goals are and be clear about what your end game is. And don't worry about what the people next to you are doing, because for a long time, your life is not going to look as glamorous as theirs does, And so she was like, just think about delayed gratification. And when you reach your end goal, and when you finally experience the gratification at that point, it'll be so much more worth it. And that's something that I still use today. So anytime I take on a new project or a new venture, I understand that there's a period in time that requires sacrifice, and you delay gratification for that period. And then at a later point, you then experience better gratification. And to your point around success, how I define success is, so the subtitle to the book I wrote is called Lessons Learned Along a Journey of Success. And I truly do believe that success is a journey, and it looks different at different points in time. Yes, there's the end goal, so if you're studying, the point of graduation is success. But every exam that you pass along the way is success. Every assignment you submit on time is success. I think sometimes, especially during, the pandemic, there's, days when you were just able to get out of bed and be optimistic is success. And I think it's very important to have that context where you understand that it's a journey, and some parts of that journey look great and some parts of that journey don't, but all of it is good, and in everything you're being successful.
No, I really like what you had to say, about success. And I would like Kathy. Now, Kathy, she is the youngest, but at the same time, she is a legitimate architect. Kathy, let's say, what is your most successful point or achievement or episode lately? And it can be as simple as ever. It does not matter.
I would have to say it's just marking this moment right now. That I've managed to survive as a practitioner, running my own practice with a partner for the past 3 years through this very difficult couple of years we've had economically and socially. I really think, Ziki, your advice to your younger self is something I would take to heart. Something I'm trying to do more of, and I guess it's advice to myself at the moment, is to step back as often as possible and just strategize where we're going and not be so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
That would be my 2 cents.
Oh well, no, it's a very expensive 2 cents. I think if any advice I'd have to myself. Now, when I was growing up, I was always drawing. You know, I would be in church, and I'd be drawing in the Bible. I'm Catholic, and it freaked my father out. He's very conservative. I'd just be always squiggling and in the Bible, anywhere. So that's what I was always doing. And then I was always talking a lot. I think I spent most of high school sitting outside because I was always talking. And having looked back, now when I look back, all that talking now is giving me my good bread. and all of that drawing is also giving my good bread. So, you know, it makes you just think that the things that you would like reprimand a child about, you know, actually, maybe that's their money maker. So that's just like, so I think my younger self, any advice that I would give to my younger self, you know, I would just say, look, you were just fine. You were just fine as it is, and you were never of the mold. I mean, I wore purple stockings, I dress all purple to church, and this is Catholic, you know, and I wouldn't wear furry socks. So I wouldn't wear furry socks. And, you know, my father was always about, listen, you need to change. But nonetheless, I would say, look, you were fine as you were, and you need not be as insecure as you were. Your future was going to be who you are already right now. And Ziki, you say something very interesting. You talk about juggling balls, rubber balls and glass balls, and the contrast about that. Can you give us a quick thing about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the lessons I've also got from one of my mentors around this idea of balance. You know, I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, there used to be all these articles around how do you find balance, and this is balance, and balance this and balance that. And I remember having a conversation with her, and that was my question. I was like, so how do I keep balance just in my life? And what she said to me was, there's no such a thing as balance. What you need to think about is how you run your juggling act. And what she said to me is that there's certain things in your life that are rubber balls, and there's certain things that are glass balls. And, you know, rubber ball things are, you know, your career, projects, whatever it is, important stuff, but it's stuff that if you happen to drop this ball, it will bounce back. So it could bounce back in a month, in a week, in a couple of years. Point is, it will bounce back. Whereas the things that are glass balls are important things, you know, relationships and things like that. If you happen to drop this particular ball, it can shatter, it can break, and the chances of fixing it, you know, it might be irreparable. And that's what she said to me. She was like, in whatever it is that you're doing, just think about how you balance that juggling act between your glass ball items and your rubber ball items.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I'm sure you heard that. You know, I was walking last night going to the gate, and I was thinking about this whole balls thing and what in my day, what could be rubber balls and glass balls. So now we've got to start thinking about life in that kind of way. And I think it can help you to differentiate and what is priority and what is not. What is not a priority. Niven, I have to get you to talk about your book about politics, and the fact that if you don't do politics, it's going to do you. You got to tell us what's going on in that book. And what does that mean? Because we always want to know, listen, I'm not about politics, just give me the building. But listen, tell us. Maybe perhaps we're missing out on something. Maybe we need to dabble in something. Yes. Go on. I can't hear you.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I'll be very brief because we're getting capital letter messages from the producers to wrap up. But really, it's a book based on some of the things that I didn't know for 20 years of being an executive. And I had a very successful career. Excruciatingly, you read out quite a lot of my CV. But this thing around politics and relationships and social capital was really something I didn't understand. And so the book shares a lot of the stuff that I didn't know and that I didn't know I needed to know. But, you know, people are free to go to the website, my website, nivenpostma.com, and they don't have to buy the book. There's a workbook, there's videos, there's a whole bunch of stuff there which they can access freely. And then I wrote a Harvard Business Review article last month, as you kindly mentioned. People can also access that freely. And I think those together give quite a nice synopsis and a summary of, like I say, something that I certainly, to my cost, did not understand for pretty much all of my career.
Yeah, I like that when you talk about at your cost, because it means there was a cost for you to actually come up with that book. Yeah. Well, look, awesome, lovely women of this world, of this profession, and this global space that we serve. We need to tie up our session for this morning. It was called the Fireside session. I was like, no, I'm not gonna dress up like I'm sitting at the fire. No, but I'm glad that you came out with your best souls and your best threads. And thank you so much for this awesome session. I wish we could carry on forever, but I do have a feeling that some side conversations are going to start happening. Some side associations are going to happen. There's always a lot of work and there's a lot to do. And we can definitely learn from each other and have fun on some of these projects. I wish you all the best in your spaces, Ziki, with your well, to me, it is a new business, Mentor, because some of us have been around them for a while, like Norma Gugu there as well. Nina, I wish you the best in this new move that you have taken in Cape Town and in the transport department. Catherine, open your heart to Gauteng. Johannesburg will be awesome for you. Just be yourself and they'll be ready to receive you. And Norma, thank you for bringing your beautiful colors. When I'm in KZN, I'm gonna definitely look you up. I love your fire and I love your strength. And Niven, it was so awesome having a chat with you offline. I think we can all benefit from strategy. A lot of businesses need strategy and need culture. So Niven knows a lot about that. And I know that a lot of practices don't quite strategize. And yes, and the last person up there is myself. So I think I should thank myself for being a part of this awesome session. And we wish everyone good luck for the rest of the day. I'll be definitely tuned in. And yes, goodbye. And it has been really lovely. We got to tie up our session as we move on to the next session. If everybody can just say a last goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the session.
Bye-bye, Niven.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, Althea. Bye-bye, Nsiki.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you.